All right, let's take it away. Mike Hodges.
Hey Andrew, my name's Mike. I'm from England, and my question is twofold in relation to getting a job specifically within ArcViz. I've had a fairly successful career completely separately to CG in sales and marketing for the last kind of like 7 or 8 years. I've been using Blender on and off since probably about 2005 or so. My skill level is now, I feel, at a point where I'm technically capable of getting a job within the industry. And firstly, how do you go about doing that in terms of, is it you just apply to studios, or how does that process work? And secondly, in relation to portfolios, what makes a good portfolio? What should go into it? And what kind of variety do people want to see? So any insights you have would be really appreciated. Thanks.
Good question, Mike. How to get a job, right? The age-old easy way to make some cash. Get a job. You don't want to be your own boss. That's fine. You need a salary. You need regular recurring income to put some food on the table. That's great. So how do you get a job? Okay, so there was two questions there. That was like, portfolio, and then like how to actually apply at studios. So I'll address the portfolio one first. You said, so what do people want to see in a portfolio? That really depends on the studio that you are applying for. Okay, so going back to the last episode, we talked about whether it's better to be a jack of all trades or to specialize, and that depends on the size of the studio. If you are applying at a 300-person studio, then you probably they probably want to see something very niche, like you're a technical director pipeline of like plugins or a rigger, right? They want to see something very niche because you're going to be part of a pipeline. You're going to be getting one product from something else. You're going to work on it, and then you're going to hand it to the next person, okay? If you're going to be applying instead at, say, a studio of like 5 to 10 people, then they're probably going to be looking for somebody more generalized, right? They want somebody who can be part of the team that are solving problems, okay? The day-to-day issues. They want to be able to say, hey, Mike, can you model this couch, right? Because we need that for this client's requested this weird, unique couch. Can you model that? And then the next day they want to be able to say, hey, can you fix the light? Like, can you light this shot for us, right? So you need to know the lighting. They want a general run and gun, generalist, right? Because you're working at a small place. So that's generally how it goes. And then in terms of like what to actually show in your portfolio, well, that also depends on the place that you are applying at and the industry. All right. So you said ArchViz. Okay. So ArchViz, I mean, there's different types of ArchViz. There's sort of like concept phase and, whatever. And then there's the high image glossy stuff. Let's say, you're doing the high image glossy stuff, like the Boundary is a great studio in the UK that is they're doing like the high photorealistic glossy stuff. Okay. If you just go to their website, theboundary.com or whatever it is, actually, I don't know what it is. And then just look at their work. You'll see they got like animations of like these apartment buildings with the city in the background. So there's some tracking there. And then they've got these interior shots with beautiful lighting and the curtains moving and, close-up shots of furniture, wide shots to show the sense of scale. All that stuff is exactly what you need to put in your portfolio. You don't even need to ask them, what do you want to see? You can just see it by looking at the website. That's what you need to be having in your portfolio, because that's going to tell them like whether or not you're at the standard that they would need to hire someone at, right? So then it just comes to quality, right? Like how good are you at your job, okay? So, I mean, that's really all this advice that I'm giving you is just going to be naught if you're not actually good at what you do. And that I think should go without saying. Everyone should know that. Anyways, if you're creating this is what I would do. If I wanted to apply at the Boundary, I wanted to get a job, I'd go to their website, look at the work they want to do, and then I'd find other images, like actual photos of similar things like apartments and other things like that. And I would just recreate it in Blender, render it out and show it to them. Okay. And then that's it, right? Then my work just stands, it's up for their judgment, and whether I hit the mark or not is up to them. And that's all they need to know. Right. So yeah, just in the ArchViz space, I'd probably say like photorealistic rendering, you need to know you understand that. like, the correct colors of things, the material properties, the lighting, all that kind of stuff is very important. And then probably like interior design, because often the client has specific instructions, but sometimes they don't. And it's up to you to choose the right material or the right furniture to actually fit the scene. So I've seen some ArchViz artists do like, technically beautiful work that is like photorealistic and whatever, but they copied an image or something, they made it themselves and they weren't actually good at interior design. And so the image just feels like bleh, doesn't look nice, right? Whereas if you actually just used photo reference of like something from ArcDaily or Dezeen or anything on Behance and just took some of those like really like by world-class professionals of interior design that already, they've got the design down pat, and then just copied it and recreated a photo in your respective software, that'd definitely be the way to go. Because that's the thing, like, although it shouldn't matter, like if you're applying as a technician, right? If you show somebody like an image that, as I said, the first example, like something that looks actually like technically great, but crappy design, it actually weighs down the whole image. Even though I myself looking at it, I know that I'm looking for a technical artist. It doesn't matter that they don't know interior design. It weighs it down. It's like, it comes to everything. Like I made this, the cabin in the woods scene, right? On my YouTube channel. And I showed that tutorial, this cabin, forest cabin or whatever, right? But like, I'm not a concept artist. I don't know, good environment concept art. If I did, I could have, without adding any extra work to it, knew how to add like the right amount of detail and shape language and things to make a more visually interesting image that could have like 10x'd how good it looked, as an example. Anyways, okay, so that's what to put in your portfolio. Then you said, how do you actually apply? Which is another very good question. Do you just email them? Yes. Yeah. So if I were you, I just put together a list of ArchViz studios that you're interested in applying in, and then just go to their website, find their email address, and then reach out to them. Now, I actually didn't used to think this was good advice, because I thought like, if a studio has an opening, they're going to advertise it, and emailing them out of the blue is just going to annoy them. But that is not true. Now that I've run a business for so long, I know that hiring it's a pain in the ass. It really is. Nobody really enjoys hiring people except people that are in hiring, maybe. It's just a pain in the ass. It's expensive. It's time consuming. Everybody has to stop what they're doing because they have to interview people. You have to go through applications. It's a job. And so it's pushed off way later than it should be, right? You end up hiring someone way after you actually need them. That if you get somebody who just knocks on your door and says, hey, I'm a generalist, 3D artist. I was wondering, if you have any work at Polygon. We check out your portfolio and go, please be what we're looking for, right? So we've hired, I think there's a handful of artists at Polygon that we've actually hired from people who just emailed us out of the blue, right? One of them, absolutely fantastic. He was just like a game artist and he did like some texture work and we're like, can you do this? And he joined the team and now he's like, one of our head like photo scanning guys because he just learned on the job and he was just prepared to, go the mile. So it's been fantastic. So anyways, point is that yes, you can definitely reach out to them and just see if they're, and here's the other thing, even if they're not available, they'll often hold on to your portfolio for when they do, and if they do. And the other thing is if you're not at the level required, you don't meet their standards yet, it's an opportunity for you to get real feedback because nobody likes to give a rejection letter and say, look, sorry, your work is just not up to standard. So I usually start with that. But then if they come back to me and say, hey, Andrew, no worries, I really want to improve as an artist. Could you just tell me like, what could I improve on that you would want to hire me? Then I give feedback. And then that's like, so it's a win-win, like the outcome of whether you get the job or whether you get some killer feedback that'll really help you in your portfolio to know what to improve on. That can be an outcome as well. So that's brilliant. And I think most studios will want to give feedback as long as you tell them like, you can't offend me. Like I'm not, you can be as harsh as you like. I just want feedback so that I can improve and maybe you could hire me in the future or something like that. So it's a win-win there. And then other than that, just make sure that you've got a portfolio that is in all the places that people are already looking. So ArchViz, it's like Behance, and I think like CG Architect maybe, but also ArtStation, right? Those places. And then you just want to be watching for job openings, because that is, of course, the other very easy way to get a job. Just wait till there's an actual opening and then apply and then enter the pool and see how you go, essentially. But that was my answer for you, Mike. Before we get to the next question, speaking of ArchViz, if you